Welcome back to HPL. We're at the PvP Live Studios here in Frisco, Texas. Wow, what a game, Nathan. Turn 3 Ragnaros.
Yeah, and then Powder almost able to win it.
Yeah, he almost won that
from
game.
That position as well. I mean, King Crush almost enough to really get it done there towards the end. But you know, turn 3 Ragnaros, when it goes unchecked, that's a pretty tough one to beat.
Can you picture talking to your friend about your match tonight? You're like, yeah, I had 1 minion on the board, and then you just played a Ragnaros on turn 3, and I almost won.
Yeah. Game 2, Superjj versus Powder is getting underway right now.
Yeah, let's see what kind of changes they're going to make. And Superjj is going to switch it up quite a bit here. Seeing the Slam out of his Warrior deck, though, I got to believe this is Grim Patron.
Yeah, we saw Slam super early on, you know, when Hearthstone was kind of first in its inception. It was really in a lot of the Control Warrior decks. But now it's in here more for a cycle card. This is indicative of the fact that he wants to be finding combos with Warsong Commander and really pushing forward from there. And Powder going to keep going with aggro here. You know, again, he likes to come out swinging fast and early, and this is really up his alley. A strategy like this. And Superjj, you know, we talked about this, how he likes to study his opponents, get a read on them, and then try to target those strategies. Control Warrior can be one of the best options versus this if you get these early game tools.
Yeah, early game tools like Armor Smith, Fiery War Axe, Execute, Slam, all these cards are great. Now, if I was Powder, I'd be looking at this Hunter's Mark in my hand and just be like, where were you when I needed you last game? Where were you?
Maybe it wasn't in there last game, you know, that's
maybe switched it
he
up.
He could have very easily changed it between games, and then here he's going to choose to leave this Armor Smith alive, and then Superjj going to start swinging for the fences here and taking this stuff out. You know, the fact that he's not attacking this Haunted Creeper here, this really shows that he feels like he's going to be able to rely on that Depth Spike, take his time with kind of focusing on these minions. Freezing Trap going to return this Armor Smith to hand, and he's going to be left to deal with this afterwards. But again, you know, has plenty of time to take some damage to really get things rolling, unless Powder just can put together so much aggression.
Yeah, in this matchup, all Superjj wants to do is make sure his life total stays high enough and that he controls the board just enough for his big swing turns. Since you've already got a Freezing Trap out of Powder's deck, there's not a lot of ways he can defend himself from the Grim Patron Assault. That's going to happen on turn 6 or 7 if he gets all the pieces that he needs.
That's certainly the case. You know, Superjj also very good heads up from him to proc that trap before the Eagle Horn Bow got into play, saved himself 3 extra points of damage there.
Like, I love this play from Superjj too because he really didn't have a whole lot going on for turn 4 anyway. Like, a lot of his options weren't the greatest. Like, he could develop a Death Spite, which is one of the best things you can usually do in Grim Patron Warrior on turn 4, but he doesn't have a lot of ways to cash it in just yet. He's trying to keep his life total as high as possible to get this Emperor Thaurissan into play.
Yeah, so going to be playing a little bit off curve here. Powder gets a juggle, so he doesn't have to trade in one of his minions, and this is, you know, kind of a scary position, I would say, for Superjj. He does have Death Spite in his hand, so he can kind of weather the storm, but he's going to take a lot of damage doing it.
Yeah, he's even got a Slam. He's got 2 Slams now. He wants to start
plan
taking care
might
of these,
change now, but I would doubt it. I still think Death Spite is going to be
it's
just
too good.
efficient.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too efficient. He needs to set this up for next turn. Having Death Spite able to take care of these minions plus the Execute in his hand is just too good to pass up for Superjj here. Kill Command added to Powder's hand. That's a pretty good one too. It'll allow him to push through a lot of damage here in the late game.
Yeah, so Superjj already dealt 6 points of damage to himself intentionally, and I think at this point he's gonna. Yep, he wants to get this Emperor down, so he's gonna take even more. 9 points of damage he's intentionally dealt to himself, and when you're facing down an Eagle Horn Bow and a Hero Power, you need to start turning up the heat.
It's a little scary to go down to 12 here against Powder, but you have to hope that his hand is very minion-centric or stuff like
would just be
Unleash,
right now.
Unleash the Hound, something like that, because you have to get this Emperor in play. Superjj to win this game is going to need to win in the next turn or 2, so he needs to have a very high velocity hand from here. And I would be super surprised if Powder killed this Emperor Thaurissan here, actually.
Really rethinking his option here now as well. I mean, I would love to see just Hunter's Mark in the Unleash the Hounds. Unleash the Hounds, not very strong, I would say, at this point in the game, and that Kill Command is going to help him make that late game push. So.
Yeah, Kill Command's worth so much more than Hunter's Mark right here in this game. So, yeah, I would love this. I love seeing him keep this Kill Command
especially here in this game, because Superjj is out of minions at this point, and that Cruel Taskmaster, he just picked that up. I mean, outside of this, he doesn't have any minions left. So the fact that Powder was able to kind of, you know, use the tools that he had available to him, the Dr. Boom going to pick up a lot of weight here, but the Emperor Thaurissan also alleviating a lot of mana. Love to play on both sides of the board so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, we may even see him Battle Rage here just for 1 card, but no, he's going to have to armor up and develop a Death Spite here instead. Yeah, he's going to actually attack here because he's going to probably need to Whirlwind as soon as possible to try to get this game going.
Wow, Pilot Shredder gets picked up for Powder as well. I mean, there's a chance here that, you know, these Boombots just deal some massive damage over to Superjj's face. And then I think for Powder, I would have to say this Eagle Horn Bow needs to be aimed at the face, because if your opponent wants to use a Whirlwind effect and execute your Dr. Boom, he has the option to do that anyway. So this extra 3 damage being pushed onto Superjj's life total right now, I mean, it's 25% of his remaining health.
You're 100% right. I think you have to push for as much damage as possible here and just hit him for 3 in the face.
I don't necessarily think he has to swing this turn, but I would not be swinging at the Cool Taskmaster.
Yeah, if you were to attack this turn, because Superjj is in such a spot right now that he has to control your board and try to win, plus keeping his life total high. You might be able to stress out his mana a little bit too much over the next turn or two for that.
Yeah, I have to believe
good
also,
pickup of Armor Smith here if he wants.
I have to believe also this Armor Smith is going to be hitting the board simply for the sake of getting every single point of life available. Swings with that Eagle Horn Bow and avoids hitting a Harrison Jones.
Wow.
What timing for Powder. You know,
I think Powder would be okay if Harrison Jones came into play this turn.
That's
though.
definitely something he could have been thinking about too. You know, wanting to make sure that Superjj has to use the Death Spite in combination with Execute to take care of this, and not necessarily having the liberty of using the Cruel Taskmaster and in an Execute. You know, that's something else to think about. It's clearly what his game plan was, I think. And then, of course, I believe he was factoring in Harrison Jones at some point in this match.
Yeah, you got to believe that he was factoring in Harrison Jones. I would be happy to let my opponent eat my weapon here to trade for 5 mana from him in a card that pretty much doesn't do anything in the game at this point.
Boombot to the Armor Smith for 1 is got to be great for Superjj.
It's great for Superjj.
He wants to add this Unstable Goal behind this as well, so I think it's going to be the 0 mana Execute. Yeah, but then Unstable Goal is going to come down, and now this
game is turning around quite a bit for Superjj here. He's actually starting to push into the lead here now over Powder.
Yeah, we've seen this in his games too. Wow, what a pickup for Powder though. That's going to give him a lot of leverage for pushing through this. But Superjj's got Harrison Jones to back that up. And sort of, I was going to go back to the point and talk about this. You know, before this match, we talked about Powder loves to push the action and try to get these games over with. And Superjj has been very focused on extending the games and getting to the late game point and hitting that big turning point and making sure he can get things done. You're seeing that in this game. This Harrison Jones going to save him 3 health, going to pick him up an extra card, get a threat on the board. I mean, everything is looking beautiful for him right now.
Yeah, he's going to be able to pick up 2 extra cards here off this Battle Rage. There's one piece of it. There's an Acolyte of Pain as well. And you're going to see this Slam and then this Acolyte of Pain finish off this Piloted Shredder here. Superjj, he's getting it together. He's got 2 Frothing Berserkers and a Warsong Commander in his hand. This game could end very quickly from here if Powder develops his board anymore over the next turn or 2.
Yeah, really considering whether he wants to use the Execute or the Armor Smith, I would have to say go with the Armor Smith here. The average drop out of this is not going to be very significant.
And that one is not very good.
Yeah, 1-2. I think he's very happy to see that. And Powder at this point, really no option left but to push for damage. This is a point where the kill command might actually take out this Harrison Jones so he can protect these threats.
Yeah, I really expect to see him kill command the Harrison Jones here to protect his threats, but Superjj, if he top decks Grim Patron here, this is going to be a gigantic turn for him. He's going to be able to clear this entire board of minions while developing a full board of his own.
Yeah. So he's going to go with the Harrison Jones. It can't feel good either in Powder's situation.
Powder,
save the kill command to try to push for damage.
Yeah, Powder knows that he's probably not going to win from this spot.
Oh my gosh.
These Frothing Berserkers?
That might have done it,
9,
my
10.
friends.
Yeah, this is 18, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be Warsong Commander, Frothing Berserker, Frothing Berserker, Whirlwind, Earth. Okay.
Okay, so it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would have been 10 points of damage, so a little bit shy. You know, 1 Whirlwind isn't enough, but he is going to be able to clean up this board very, very nicely and completely take full control. At 13 and Powder having no card sitting in his hand, sort of something like, I don't even know, like maybe a King Crush again to push through the damage here. He's going to have no assault on board. Stranglethorn Tiger not going to be enough either. He's facing down enough pressure to actually kill him. He needs answers to this right now. 11 points of damage and the board clear. And Freezing Trap not able to completely close this out. Superjj has no fear of attacking right now. This Warsong Commander going to run in. Isn't even going to try to throw Superjj off though, and see if he wants to play the traps improperly.
Yeah, we've seen some crazy things happen here in HPL versus traps. We've seen people not attack. You got to at least play the trap and see what he does.
People make mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to concede.
Maybe he doesn't want to show him what trap he has.
That's
in possible.
Too. That's the only possibility I can think of. But if that's the case, just pass him the turn.
Yeah.
Take your beat. Let him get in the extra points with Frothing Berserker. That's what we want to see. Is that
you come
big
back
shot
here and take your beating
from Frothing Berserker? So massive damage there from Superjj at the end. I mean, this is what we've seen from him all HPL so far. He takes his time in establishing this board control, gets to the late game, extends his life total completely out of reach of his opponents after he's grinded their resources down, and then finishes the games on his term. In this game, he was able to do that beautifully with this Warrior deck.
Yeah, we talked about this coming into the match, that Powder was going to be the aggressor and really try to put it to Superjj before he get things set up. Superjj has been able to set up everything that he needs in these games. and Powder just hasn't been able to finish him off. He's gotten very close in his games, but he hasn't had enough to push through there at the end, and he finds himself down an 0-2 hole here very quickly.
Yeah, had to face off Ragnaros in game 1, had to face off Armorsmith and FireX playing Hunter in game 2. Pretty tough stuff for him. If you guys want to see the recap for this game, you can head over to pvplive.net and see it for yourself. Full stats breakdowns, everything they've played in this game, how they've played their strategies, it's all available on the website. These guys are, once again, they're making changes to their decks. In the HPL format, they have no shackles on them. They can change anything about their deck or their class in any way they want between games. And when we come back, game 3 is going to be getting underway. Superjj is on match point for 3 straight. Powder's going to need 3 straight if he wants to win this match. Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.